The Department of Justice has officially launched a perjury investigation on E. Jean Carroll. Joe Biden is still lying about Joe's mental health, and Zohran Mamdani is campaigning already, 5 months into his term. All that and more right now. Welcome to episode 61 of the Republic Brothers podcast. He's Matt, I'm Mike, and today is May 31st, 2026. Please hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss our next episode on Thursday. Also, make sure you stick around to the end of this episode for our brand new segment, The Feed. All right, Matt, let's jump right in here. The Department of Justice has officially opened a criminal investigation into E. Jean Carroll. I'm sure everyone remembers her. She is the woman who sued President Trump a while back for sexual assault. How could we forget her? Democrats won't let us forget, even though their story and hers are full of holes. Now, we have this probe, which focuses on whether she committed perjury during that case. Prosecutors are examining a 2022 videotaped deposition. During that deposition, Trump's defense attorney, Alina Habba, asked Carroll if she had received any outside financial support to fund her lawsuits. Carroll stated that she was not and that she was paying her legal fees herself. It later emerged prior to the trial that billionaire LinkedIn co-founder and major Democratic donor Reid Hoffman had provided financial backing for her lawsuits through a nonprofit organization. Carroll's legal team notified the court of this funding, clarifying that Carroll herself had never personally met or spoken with anyone linked to the nonprofit. The investigation is being led by Andrew S. Boutros, the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Illinois. The matter was reportedly referred to the Chicago office because one of the organizations linked to the legal funding is based there. Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche has officially recused himself from the matter because Blanche previously served as Trump's personal defense attorney. Now, there were a lot of holes in the entire story that so many people don't even know about. It's really no shock that they found out she lied about something. What I don't understand is when they asked her if someone was paying for it, how could she say no and then they come back later and clarify that she never actually met anyone through that nonprofit? That's fine, you can say that, but for her to answer the question, no, I'm paying for this myself, when she clearly hasn't been paying for it, is just a bold-faced lie, am I right? What else did she lie about?
Most likely, yes. The timing of it would be very interesting. When they asked her that question, had someone else paid the bills for her attorneys yet? I get the impression the answer is yes. That would make it a lie. I do think it's smart for Todd Blanche to get out of the way on this. He is too close to it personally. He couldn't be impartial. Best to get out of the way. This was just one of the many lawsuits against Trump. I'm sorry, but if you wait decades before suing someone, and you only do it once someone announces they are running for president, I have my doubts that your story is true. We saw that with Brett Kavanaugh when he was nominated for the Supreme Court. You never heard of any issues, then some vague accusations are brought against him with the hopes of derailing his career. It's quite common against professional athletes as well, and we've talked about it. You wait for them to get that big contract, then you sue them to get your cut. They often hope for a settlement so the details don't come to light and the story can't be scrutinized fully. We didn't see lawsuits against presidents in the past because it's nearly impossible for the President of the United States to get a truly fair trial. They are known by everyone, and most people have an opinion of the president. Trump was convicted in New York, where everyone on the jury was against him, and his federal case in Florida was thrown out. But if it had gone to trial, he most likely would have been found not guilty because it was going to be a friendly jury. Democrats have pulled this rabbit out of the hat, so my expectation for all future presidents is that they're going to be mired in lawsuits. It will be fun to see sometimes, but eventually we're going to need to get away from that.
Yeah, I do think it'll just end up getting worse and worse. The last thing we need as well is our president having to sit through lawsuits, especially when, like you said, someone that is that well known and then something comes up years later. It's really hard to believe that you would wait that long in order to say something.
It was such a traumatic experience that you wanted them to face repercussions. But you waited 20 years before you decided you wanted them to face the repercussions? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Like I said, tons of holes in the story from start to finish, honestly. Now, speaking of holes in stories, we all saw what happened with Joe Biden during that debate with Trump. The same debate that would end up getting him the boot. At the time, Joe Biden was saying that Joe crushed it, but she's not saying that anymore.
Remember this?
With the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare, and I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
And by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf with you if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
Turns out we weren't crazy because Dr. Jill just diagnosed the disaster. Quote, Jill Biden wondered if her husband had unknowingly ingested drugs or was having a medical episode on live television. Is he short-circuiting? Is this a stroke? Has he been drugged? Now, a normal wife would have called 911. But when the debate was over, she called it a great night.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts. And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do? Lied! 4 more years. 4 more years. 4 more years.
Everybody remembers that night, Biden's blank stare, mouth agape. Jill saw it, Democrats saw it, and he knew he blew it. Quote, as the president walked off the stage, he whispered to his wife, I really effed up, didn't I? Yes, you did, I whispered back. The doctor says, don't blame me. This was just a one-night thing. Quote, oh, God, will people watching assume this is how he is all the time? People watched him for 4 years. We knew he was like this all the time. Even CNN's like, are you serious?
She thought he was having a medical emergency or ingested drugs or was possibly having a stroke, yet she sat there, watched him bomb it without stopping it or calling for help. There's lie number one. Then after the debate, she told him he did so well and answered all the questions. There's lie number two. Then she has the nerve to say that Trump lied? Joe Biden turned into the old man who wanders off if he's not under constant supervision. That's exactly why they hid him from the public for 4 years. The wheel is spinning, but the hamster is dead.
Is that not the actions of the greatest wife in human history? You think he is having a medical emergency, yet you left him up there to embarrass himself. She is clearly the one who wanted him to run again. You are his wife, and you're the one in his ear. If she told him not to run, he most likely wouldn't have. She could have told him it was time to walk away. She wanted the power. That is why she told him he did a great job and Trump was lying. You're also telling me she watched her husband become a shell of himself, and Joe Biden thought he was fine or didn't notice? She thought his bad performance was because of drugs, but everyone with eyes like us thought the good performances were because of drugs. You said it best. They hid him from the day he announced he was running for president. People voted for him because they hadn't seen how many marbles were left in his head. He was basically a corpse on that stage, and the liberal media shouted at us to stop talking about his age because he was fine. How often were we told he was as sharp as ever? The entire Democrat mouthpiece media got pantsed when Biden was on that debate stage. They had been telling us for years he was fine, and they could no longer hide that.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw as well, there was a piece in that where at the end, when he walks off stage, he asks her if he effed up, and she says, yeah, you did. But if you thought that he messed up, then you didn't really think that he was on drugs or that he was having a stroke. This was a cover-up from day one. Just like we said, this is just where it all came to fruition. We all saw it, and we were like, oh, yeah, he's definitely not okay.
They didn't have anyone better. Who did they turn to? Who was the hand-picked candidate when Joe Biden clearly couldn't do it anymore?
Yeah. And she got crushed.
She got crushed. She's known for her word salads. She was an awful candidate, but she was the best one they could come up with. They didn't have any other good options. The hope for the Democrat Party was that the referendum was still on Trump. People had 4 pretty tough years under Biden, and it was about Joe Biden. It was not about Trump, and that's why the Democrat Party got murdered in that election.
Yeah, and you could even tell from Kamala Harris's interviews after she lost that even she knew that Joe Biden wasn't good. She knew that he was declining.
The problem for Kamala was if Joe Biden was good, he wouldn't have picked her.
Yeah.
Biden made it clear she was a diversity hire. If Biden was a good president and a good leader, you don't do diversity hires. You hire the best candidate. He put himself in a box when he said, I'm going to hire a black woman to be my vice president. There weren't any great options. There were better options out there if he was okay with being a black male. Biden hurt himself, and we talked about the DNC autopsy. Apparently, Joe Biden didn't set Kamala up for success. We saw in that debate stage he was a corpse. How on earth was that guy going to help anybody in the future? All right, well, that's enough talking about the greatest doctor in the history of the world. I wanted to point this story out because the people of New York City probably feel they got more than they bargained for with Mamdani. New York City taxpayers are on the hook for the salaries of the Office of Mass Engagement. $5.2 million in wages. The headcount at this new agency has already gone up 186% in 1 month of existence. And when you read the job descriptions for the positions, they read like they are campaign staffers. Why might he do something like this? Well, Zohran Mamdani skipped the Israel Day parade on the 31st of May to spend his time pitching New York City on why you should vote for him in his re-election bid. He is already talking about re-election 5 months into his term. The next election is in 2029. Mamdani apparently loves his job so much, he is willing to spend your money to keep the job. Now, that may just be a reason not to attend something for Israel because Mamdani is the first mayor to ever skip that parade. Did you ever think he would go to something that was pro-Israel? I had my doubts given we know his stance on Israel. It's stunning to me to see him spending taxpayer money on something that will only benefit himself. He said this was to help get people involved in policy making, but this is kind of a classic communist move to stay in power. Use taxpayer money to keep your job.
Yeah, every single thing about Mamdani gives me a bad feeling. I still cannot believe he got elected. How no one noticed that Mamdani is really good at spending other people's money is crazy. What were the actual job descriptions for those positions?
Well, you don't mind overspending if it's other people responsible for the bill, right?
Yeah.
I looked at a couple of them. One description for the role of co-governance coordinator was to bring the community together, support community outreach and engagement activities, organize meetings and public forums. The role was to develop materials such as agendas, presentations, and summaries, tracking feedback on how the community reacted. I'll just read what the top qualification is. Quote, demonstrated experience in community engagement, public participation, or grassroots organizing, especially in diverse urban environments. That, to me, reads as a political campaign manager. When you go look at the campaign manager role in the Office of Mass Engagement, there is a section that says problems you'll solve. One of them is build volunteer systems that allow New Yorkers to participate in large-scale, meaningful engagement and events. Most of it is on communicating with the people in the city. There's not much about actually getting anything done. They do come with 6-figure salaries, though, so not a bad gig if you can get one.
Imagine if Trump started a task force in his administration and then posted job openings for these positions with these descriptions. We would call it a huge waste of money.
If Trump started a department called Mass Engagement, would they not just call it a propaganda wing?
Absolutely. And you and I even would say that's stupid.
Yes, it is. It's a waste of money.
Complete waste of money. At some point, you hope that the people of New York will eventually see that Mamdani is not good for them. But holy cow, if he gets reelected again in 2029, oh geez.
He is potentially the reason New York City may get a Republican mayor again.
Yeah.
It could be that bad by the time his term ends.
Yeah, I mean, think about just all the dumb stuff that he's done thus far in 5 months, like you said. And maybe that's a sign he thinks he's already losing people if he's already out re-campaigning for the next election.
Yeah, 5 months into your term and you're already talking about it. He did say he loves the job, so he's got that going for him. Buttigieg loved trains. That was good enough to get the job there, so.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, it is time for The Feed. This is the segment where we take all the funny videos we saw on our social media feeds this week and break them down one by one. So let's start with the Jackson Dart outrage.
I'm waiting for all those liberal, woke, cuckolded, wannabe talk show hosts who had a problem and spent all day the last couple of days talking about Jackson Dart merely introducing the president at an event in New York and thought it was like the world coming to an end. But to date, I've not heard any one of those shows, the specific guys I'm thinking of, who've said a damn word about Josh Jacobs being accused of domestic violence, strangulation, criminal damage, disorderly conduct, and intimidation of a victim. But it bothers me, this fake outrage about it, and this notion of what Jackson Dart did was so offensive and unacceptable and is going to splinter the locker room up. I would rather have my starting quarterback introduce an unpopular or polarizing president than strangle his girlfriend.
Of course.
Can we agree on that?
Of course.
So here's what I'm saying.
And I'm glad you said it out loud.
Yes. If you were bothered by what Jackson Dart did and you want to go on your high horse and on your soapbox and talk about the moral compass of America and how this is such a bad look for him and for the team and for the NFL, I would hope that you come out even stronger about how bad it is for everybody involved that Josh Jacobs might have done what he's accused of doing.
Absolutely. And
that's, to me, that's a wrap.
Completely agree. And if Joe Biden were still president and Jackson Dart introduced him at a rally, nobody would say anything about it. The hatred for Trump is real, and they can't understand why anyone would like him. We see this all the time, though. I didn't hear much condemnation from people with, for example, Rashee Rice street racing in Dallas, or doing drugs that violated his probation. That's why he's sitting in a jail cell right now. Mike Florio was the only one I saw who pointed out the guy's stupid for what he did. I guess we just have different rules for different communities. Your net worth, I guess, has an effect on what you're allowed to do.
This is a great take. Honestly, like, where is the outrage over Josh Jacobs allegedly beating the hell out of his girlfriend? Not a word from anyone. But one guy introduces President Trump and the world's ending. Listen, we're both Penn State fans, so we want to see Abdul Carter do well. But, buddy, Jackson Dart is the franchise. You start causing problems in that locker room just because you don't agree with his politics, you will be the one who finds the door. They're not going to get rid of him. If you have a problem with what he did, you talk to him, man to man. You don't post it on the internet just so you can pander to your audience and show all the left-wing nuts that you're on their side.
Yeah, keep it in your own room. Don't give the media more ammo to talk about your team. Now you have stories out there that the room is fractured, and those questions come up in the media sessions the players do. It's taken the focus off of football. Bill Belichick always said, don't be a distraction. You made one here.
Yeah, and no one said one thing about literally any other player doing the exact same thing for the opposition. It's like, it's okay if one side does it for them, but it's not okay if someone else does it.
You know, Mike, I saw a study the other day. They broke down every professional sports league in the U.S. on how they aligned politically. Do you know what the most Republican league in the U.S. is?
I would say baseball.
It is baseball. Second was hockey. Third was football. and fourth was the NBA. They also looked at the WNBA, which, to your surprise, is only 2% Republican, right?
Yeah.
No massive shock there.
I'm guessing the NFL split, though, isn't like far and away Democrat. I would say it's 50-50 or even probably leans Republican.
Well, that's funny because when you look at the nation, most people are either a Republican or a Democrat. But when you look at these sports leagues, they're like 40% independent.
Which is code for closet Republican.
Exactly. They aren't with the right political party, so they can't say it yet.
Yep, 100%.
That's how most leagues are.
That's exactly what that means. Because there's also a lot of people that will tell you in public, oh, I'm not on either side, I'm an independent. But then if you actually grilled them and asked them about their policies and stuff that they want to see, by the end of it, you'll be saying, nah, dude, you're a Republican. You're just afraid to admit it.
And if they had a voting record, they would be with one side, clearly.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, I really like this next one. It is the most simple argument for guns that you can possibly make. Yet for some reason, people like this woman still don't get it.
How would you better protect kids from school shooters?
I would start with gun control.
What would you do?
If you put these rules in place and ban them, we wouldn't have these mass shootings in the first place.
What rules?
Why should a 15-year-old be able to get his hands on, an assault rifle?
If the only way a 15-year-old can get their hands on an assault rifle if it is illegally. And like I said before, about most of the mass shootings are black on black crime. That is from straw purchases of guns that they're getting illegally. So they're going to get those guns anyway. In terms of actually the people who are legal gun owners, like I talked about with concealed carry permit holders, they're some of the safest and most well-behaved people in this country. People who are committing the crimes are the people who are illegally getting the guns. And so if someone is illegally getting a gun, how is the best way for you to defend yourself from someone who broke the law?
I feel like if there was a ban in place to begin with from the get-go.
Like I'm saying, the people who are committing the most crimes are getting their guns illegally. So how do you defend yourself from someone who got their gun illegally?
I mean, I'm not quite sure, but I
with
feel
a gun.
But
if you had a gun, you're evening the playing field.
We talk about it all the time. The best way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Criminals don't care about the law. What they do is already illegal, so why would you give up the one thing you can control? Will Witt said it best. You can level the playing field. Why would you not take that?
Yeah. Why is it so hard for liberals to understand that criminals don't care about the laws? If you ban all guns, criminals will still get their hands on guns. We ban drugs, but people still get those all the time. Guns are no different. Now, in our next clip, we have the classic cult argument.
I'm trying to understand where you're coming from, and by your own definition of a cult.
It's not my own. It's a legitimate
fine. So let me ask you a question. A cult would probably convince people to do something that would be against their humanity. Would you agree?
Yes.
A cult would probably get people to do something that they know is wrong, even though they think they should do something is right.
Maybe, because some of these people are brainwashed into believing certain things that they don't actually agree with because they don't have the proper information on it.
So, for example, would you agree that when the Democrats sat during the State of the Union address to not applaud a kid with brain cancer, that is cult-like behavior? Because their leader told them not to do it. I mean,
well, who told them not to?
Exactly. I mean, their leadership told them.
So who's their leader? If
well, Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries, they had strict orders: do not stand and applaud for anything Trump does. They told us this.
Yes.
And so then Trump says, "Hey, can we just have a moment of non-political? Here's DJ Daniel. He's dying of brain cancer. He's now a ceremonial member of the Secret Service." And every Democrat sat with their arms crossed, not even being able to show the humanity. I mean, that's a cult.
Okay.
Charlie saying the same stuff as us. The left loves to accuse the Republican Party of doing all the things they do regularly. Republicans are the cult-like party, yet Democrats never step out of line. They vote exactly how the party wants them to. John Fetterman is the only one that can think for himself. Propaganda is a really powerful thing, and Democrats know it. They love the Russia playbook. We just talked about Mamdani using taxpayer money to keep his job. Sounds like something Vladimir Putin would do, does it not? It's exactly what Putin is doing. He's convinced his own people that Ukraine is shooting at hospitals and schools, not him.
Yeah. We've discussed this whole cult argument thing before a few times. The left really cannot see the hypocrisy on this. Now, next up, we have the classic liberal insult tactic.
What's that?
Do you enjoy being wrong? Making an ass of yourself out in front of a bunch of people?
Well, how do you know that? You haven't talked to me.
I don't talk to idiots.
How do you know I'm an idiot?
Your signs. That's
So
all I need.
if I were someone who just walked up to someone completely that I didn't know and called them an idiot without any kind of, that might make me an idiot. But that's not how I roll.
Fine, I am an idiot. Your signs say it all. Yeah.
No, my sign's really simple. Abortion is murder, right? Because you have a human being that is alive.
He must be a fellow vegan.
And then you
don't eat animals, right?
I eat animals. I don't eat humans.
So you like killing beings, but these beings you didn't really say.
So you missed the part where I said human.
Liberal playbook, straight out of it. Silence or insult your political opponent until they stop talking. They can't debate the actual policy most of the time because they don't understand the topic. If insults and deplatforming don't work, you tell the lunatics in your cult that they should go grab a gun and go kill Adolf Hitler, right? For the good of humanity. Does that sound familiar?
Yep. The best part of this clip is when he says, "You missed the part where I said human." It's so funny when people think they're making a good argument, but they're not even close. The internet is forever, people. Please try to remember that before you start talking in front of a camera.
He makes a great point there that who's the idiot? You just walked up to somebody you didn't even know and called him an idiot because you didn't like what his sign said. You didn't have any idea what his argument was. Just the thought of him disagreeing with you was enough for you to think he was stupid without hearing him out.
Yeah, and I like how he says, that might make you an idiot though, right?
Exactly.
All right, our next clip here is from an interview with Spencer Pratt.
I'm a registered Republican, but my supporters are all Democrats because Los Angeles is all Democrats. All the people financing me are Democrats. All the meetings I take every day are Democrats. Democrats are very angry with what happened to Los Angeles. They were fed a bunch of lies by Mayor Bass, who said she was going to literally solve homelessness. She was going to do all these things she didn't do. So all of the people that put her actually in office are now behind me. So it's a nonpartisan race. There's no letter next to either of our names because the mayor is not supposed to represent a party. They're supposed to make sure your moms are safe, your houses don't burn down, and your tax money is going to your infrastructure, not to fund drug addicts.
I am liking Spencer Pratt more and more every time I hear him talk. He honestly just makes sense. Like, he's going about his campaign trying to appeal to the common LA resident. I really hope he wins. LA needs some common sense.
I like that he points out there are no Republicans in LA. If he wins, Karen Bass should write a book so we know how she was so bad at her job that the liberals in LA voted Republican. I think the right would buy that book to see what it says. I am of the opinion it will look like the DNC autopsy. Racism and sexism and all the other isms caused her to lose, and she ran a great campaign but didn't slander Spencer Pratt enough. Do you trust them to look at the facts and come to the right conclusion?
Definitely not. You know, 100% if she loses, she will say that it's because she's a black woman and he's a white man.
Yep, racism.
All right, last clip here. This one will make your brain hurt.
We're trying to show the atrocity that America has committed.
Love it.
Love it.
Love
you
it.
want to watch the video? So this was Iranians being held hostage by America.
I'm not surprised.
Do you think Iran has the right to prevent America from continuing to kill its people?
Does Iran have the right
To defend itself. Iran have the right to defend itself.
Yeah.
Like, if America's killing Iranians for decades.
What if I told you that every single video we showed you right now, this was actually attacks by the IRGC on Americans?
Now, do you think America should have the right to defend itself and prevent, future Americans?
You answer.
Wait,
why don't you answer? No, because but you said Iran has the right to,
But I'm not smart enough to answer these questions like this. So.
Wait, but you just answered the question really quickly. If Iran should have the right to defend itself against American bombings, you said yes.
So I can't. It's too much for me. I'm not just a kindergarten teacher. I'm not.
Okay, should we break it down very simple?
Yeah.
Iran attacks America. Should America be able to defend itself against Iran?
That's the test.
Wait, but okay, break it down even simpler. Okay.
Iran bomb Americans. Should America prevent Iran from bombing Americans in the future?
That was good.
Should America be able to defend itself? If Iran is bombing us.
Yes.
Should America? Yeah, because we want peace.
Yeah. Well, yes, we want them to not have the capabilities to attack us.
Yes.
Yes.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. I think we got somewhere.
Okay, we all agree.
Sorry.
The way this woman tries so hard to not take America's side is ridiculous. The guys could not spell it out for her any more than they did, and she was racking her brain trying to figure out how to avoid answering the question. God help us all that this woman teaches children.
Yeah, spot on. She herself admits she is not smart enough to understand this, but she's the one responsible for preparing the next generation. Wow. We have also talked about how some people hate America, and here's a good example of that. She is trying so hard to figure out how to answer and not be on America's side.
Yeah, and they ask her if Iran has the right to defend themselves, and she says yes. And then they say, oh, gotcha, this is actually Iran attacking America. Does America have the right to defend themselves? And her response is, I'm not smart enough. I'm just a kindergarten teacher. 2 seconds ago, you said Iran could defend themselves, so why can't we?
She was so uninformed, though, that she didn't realize that's exactly what Iran did to us. She couldn't pick up on the fact that they flipped the script to see which side she was on. She's a hypocrite, and she got caught, and she didn't know how to get out of it. That's why it sounded like that.
Yeah. All right, everyone, that is it for episode 61 of the Republic Brothers podcast. Before you click away, please hit the subscribe or follow button. New episodes drop every Monday and Thursday. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.